This show on the road. Hey YouTube land, this is Tyke Andrews coming back at you with an action figure review. Again, did miss uploading last week. We were kind of busy doing our 2 to 4 film shoots for the course that I'm doing. Let me just rotate my light so it's not completely bouncing on the box. So this is for something that I picked up recently in TK. Well, it's TK Maxx in the States, it's TJ Maxx over here, I believe, or it's the other way around. It's TJ Maxx in the States and TK Maxx over here. Not sure why they have a slight name change, but it is essentially the same department store. And this is the Jazzwares. Am I getting that right? I think it's Jazzwares. Let me just double check. Sorry, Spinmasters. Not Jazzwares, Spinmasters Metal Force DC team up set. So obviously the figures are not in the box. I'm just having a quick look at the box. So on the front of the box, you can see it names the characters that should be in here. Now, the only thing I have left in the box is the cards and the stands for the cards. The cards themselves are behind the figures, and then the stands for the actual cards are just down here behind this illustration inside the box. So this is a team up of Brainiac, Lex Luthor versus Batman and Superman. So you can see Batman and Superman here. Batman is sporting a big mech suit, where Superman does have a mech style suit, but it's more like a powered suit, or kind of a oversuit compared to like a actual big mech suit, like the one that Batman's is sporting. Again, you have the same thing here. On the side, you have images of the figures. Now, it is interesting to note that Batman's head cannot pivot up that much on the suit. And then on the opposite side, you have the Brainiac versus Superman. And then flipping around to the back of the box, you have a showcase of the figures within again. So please forgive the rain in the background. It is getting heavier, and it is a metal roof that it is bouncing off, so it might be a bit loud in the recording, but hopefully it won't. I'll try and avoid it as much as possible. So both Batman and Lex sport big mech suits, and Brainiac and Superman are kind of a oversuit, to say the most, or like it's more like it's just a battle armor thing, whereas the other guys kind of have a more mech style kind of suit going on. So that's it for the box. We'll pause there, we'll get the figures set up, and then we'll get cracking on the figures inside. Alright, let's get cracking with the figures inside the box. So just before we take a look at the figures, we'll have a look at the cards that came included with said figures. So I have them lined up in front of their respective cards. So you have Batman in front of Batman's card, Superman in front of Superman's, Brainiac's in front of Brainiac's one, and Lex's in front of Lex. So I'm just going to bring one of the cards up so you can see what they are. They're fairly hard, or fairly thick cardstock, which is kind of nice. These are similar in design to the previous cards I have looked at with figures. It does even look like the Batman figure is actually in the mech suit that he's wearing. This is the one that came with the transformable Batwing. So you got a Superman and Batman in that, and you can see Superman's kind of wearing the same uniform, and then the other one I have is the Joker mech, which I did a review of as well. But unlike the previous cards, where when you flip them around, they kind of give a comic panel kind of, what would you call it? It's not a montage. It's a, it's like a backing that kind of connects together. Even though Joker's one is different because it's from the double set with the Batman. There's a Bat mech and a Joker mech, whereas these are like the other versions. It does have that. But for what's weird about Lex Luthor's one is the back of his one comes with a Brainiac image for some reason. I'm not sure why, but that's what it comes with. So we'll leave it as is, and we won't ask questions why he comes. I suppose it's probably to do with the team up, but that is the way he is packed. Some of these characters, I'm not sure who they are. On Brainiac's one, you see it's a foil card. There's actually a QR code on these as well. But on the back of this one, it looks like it is Brainiac and Superman on the back of it. It's kind of hard to see because the Brainiac one almost looks like it's Darkseid, but you can see the tentacles coming out of the back, so I'm pretty sure it's Brainiac. Or the kind of power nodules or whatever you want to call them. Then Superman has his kind of battle armor suit, and on the back it's just him flying. It is interesting to note that was it Batman? There was one of, oh yeah, the Lex and the Superman looks like they actually go together, like they're versus each other, which makes sense. It's Lex versus Supes. And then on the back of the Batman one, it's even weirder again because it has this kind of, again, I believe it's supposed to be Brainiac, but it has this biocircuitry kind of figure, but there you can't see the face on it, so you can't tell who it is. So, and I don't think it's Batman because you don't see the obvious cowls and the scallops. Is that the things on his wrists, or a cape? So it kind of looks like, it reminds me a bit of the old Iron Man animation when he's powering up and you see all the circuitry on the suit kind of thing. So it could be something along those lines. But then the picture on the front is just Batman doing like a punch. I think it's supposed to be versus Joker, because if you look here in the corner, there is what looks like it looks like there's a flower, one of the Joker's flowers in the corner of this card. So more than likely it is a Joker. So we'll move those off to the side. We will move our figurines back in and we'll have a look at Supes first, because out of all the ones I have, he's the one that I have a sort of duplicate of. So this version of Supes is exactly the same as the one that came with that transformable Batwing. So it has the same metallic, kind of chromed metallic for the chest piece. There is no waist articulation on these. So you have, the head is on a ball joint. The only thing is he comes with an accessory, whereas this one came with none. His arms can go up that much. He has a single jointed elbow, which gives just a little over 90-degree bend. Nothing in the wrist. Arms can rotate around. You have hip swivel, so if you just move the arms out of the way, you can do the splits that much. There is a upper thigh swivel. There is a single jointed knee joint, which is quite tight on this guy. And then there is nothing in the ankles, but there is peg holes on the bottom of the feet. His cape is a fairly soft, it's fairly thin material. He does have a peg hole on the back, so if you have, I'll just use Batman's launcher for an example. If you have one of these with the peg holes, it just should fit him. It'll look a bit awkward because it's such a big thing, but you can plug in those backpack pieces that Spinmaster do for their figure range. So you have that. So the only kind of new thing on this one, apart from him looking exactly like his duplicate here. Oh yeah, I did say the head is on a ball joint. You can get a 360 on it. So it does have that. He has this shield blade thing, so he can go all stabby on someone with this kind of energy blade that pops out. I'm not sure if it's showing it on camera because it's a clear, it's almost a pale blue clear plastic. So you can see it pops out and just clicks in. It isn't spring loaded or anything, so it kind of extends out, clicks into place, and then pushes in, and then just clicks into place when it pushes in. You can see it clips over his hand, and then there's a clip that connects to the wrist, and then that's how it sits on the wrist. Just like with the other figure, the chrome is actually only on the front of the figures, so it is kind of weird to see that it's not fully chromed. For longevity wise, I'm not sure how these might hold up, because I have seen in the past where when companies use chrome plastic, it tends to become excuse me, far more fragile and brittle over time than standard plastic. So it could be a case further down the line that when finding these in the secondary market years to come, either the chrome will be wiped off the bodies, or the actual plastic that's used will have shattered into a billion pieces, and all you find is arms and legs and stuff. So it is what it is. We'll move on to Brainiac, because he is the closest in connection to Soups, in the sense that he doesn't have the big power armor suit thing going on. He does have battle armor. Again, just like with Soups, he comes with one accessory. He comes with this blaster cannon, so you can combine it into two forms, or you can have it in two forms. You can have it in that kind of long blaster that covers his entire arm, or it's designed to fold up, and you have this. The weird thing about it then is when you have it folded up like this, if you're looking at it straight on, you can see his hand inside where it holds onto the peg. There is a peg inside it that holds and then just fits over his wrist, or lower wrist and lower arm, and it just covers that. Kind of similar to what I would imagine someone like Cyborg would have when he has his, what is his cannon called? It's not Omega cannons, but whatever the heck Cyborg's powered up cannon is. I can never remember what it's called. But he has a specific name for it. It does come off, so you can have him as a standard figure. Now, with Brainiac, you are coming into the more limited articulation side of things. So for his arms, he can just move forward and back. He can't 360 them because these are permanently attached shoulder pads that are part of the body, not part of the arm. He can only go out that much with the arm. He can get quite a good over 90-degree bend. Again, no wrist swivel. These tentacles do tend to get in the way. They're designed that they're coming around from the back of his body. There's two coming around the back that are plugged in. Again, he has that peg hole as well. They're coming around the back and kind of wrap around, and then the ones at the front here are lower down. They start at his kind of waist, lower waist, and they just protrude from the side of the figure. He can do splits that much. Again, he's similar in design with Superman, that he has the thigh swivel. He can kick forward only about that much, so you can't get a great seated position. He has single jointed knee with that swivel, and the peg holes in the bottom of the feet. Now, if you're wondering why I haven't touched the head, that is one of the limited areas on this figure, and it's kind of similar with Lex. This dome piece isn't a separate part. You can't open it up. It does look like it's separate. If you flip around the back, it looks like it goes over the head, but unfortunately it's all part of this vac form body piece, so you cannot access the head inside, which means you cannot turn the head. So if you're wanting to have him look like he's shooting off to the side, if we throw his cannon back on, unfortunately he will not look like it because you cannot turn the head at all. I think what they should have done, now this is just me, what they should have done just to course correct that is have the head on a bar, have a small lever here at the bottom. I know probably would have or even just back here, I know probably would have gotten in the way of the screw that screws things together, but have it a little lever here on the back of the head, so you can just flick it left and right, and you could have the head turn inside the bubble. It would be kind of nicer if they had done something like that instead of actually just having him not being able to move the head at all. And we will segue into Lex, because he has a similar issue with his own head. So I'm going to pop off his cannon at the back here for the moment so you can see what I mean. So again, just like with everyone else, their backs, the chrome is only on the front of the figure. His head is inside this. What it would have been nice if they had maybe put a hinge on this or something you could flip this up with and then be able to turn the head. The head sculpt on Lexus isn't too bad. Let's see if we can bring it up a bit closer to the camera. And get it to focus on him. Probably too close now to the camera. It is hard to see it because he has the glass piece that is kind of getting in the way. But you can sort of see the head sculpt there. So he has pretty much similar articulation to the rest. The only thing is he is a bit more hindered on the knees. So just like their other super chunky, bigger figures, they do this thing where the knees don't move. So the arms can... Oh yeah, the other thing about Lex is you have to be incredibly careful of these pipes. So he is actually a lot more limited than poor Brainiac in that regard. So you can bend the elbow, but when you're bending the elbow, it puts a lot of pressure on this arm, or on this pipe going into the arms. It's the same on both sides. So you can have the arms bent in like just like that, but you can't move them at that point. So in order to move them out, you have to stretch out the arm and then move it up. And then again, as you can see, it puts an enormous amount of pressure on this cable that goes right here. I think it would have been nicer if they had it where you could unplug this, just so it doesn't snap. It will probably snap over time, with play it will snap. It is a kind of a bit of a poor design, because it is, I think it's a separate piece anyway, so it would have been glued in place. So it would have been nice if they had it so that maybe it plugs out at one point, so it doesn't lose that. Even if it's overstretched, it won't break on you, kind of thing. So Lex has a similar kind of shield blade design thing that Supes has, which is kind of cool. It looks like it's supposed to be a kryptonite blade, I would imagine. It has kind of a yellowy green look to it. He definitely has a kryptonite launcher. You can see it there on his missile. It looks like a block of kryptonite. And the way this works now, this has 2 articulation points, 3 if you count the actual launching piece. So it has this swivel up here. It is a shame it's not on a ball joint. I would have much preferred this being on a ball joint. It has a peg here, and then it has the launcher part. If this had been on a ball joint, it would not be getting in the way of these big pipes that are up on the figure's back. As you can see, it just rubs off him, and it just does not sit too well on this whole guy. But I digress. We'll get into bats in a minute. He has a similar gimmick, but we'll see if we can hit Supes with the kryptonite launcher. So the way this is, it's a friction push, so you kind of push it and launch it. Ooh, that was quite powerful, but completely missed the mark. So let's try again. You can see there's these indents on the side of the missile, or side of the kryptonite. So let's try and see if we can get him on screen. Sorry if this is a bit blurry, but oh, there we go. There goes Supes down from the kryptonite launcher as it reverberates and smacks back off Lex's armor. So again, he doesn't have anything in the wrists. He does have those elbows that can swivel, but again, hindered by those piping. For the legs, he can do the splits that much. He can kick forward quite a bit, so you can actually look like he's having a Lex style tantrum when Superman kicks his arse. He does have the thigh swivel, but because of the way, as I said, with the bigger figures, they tend to not put any knee joints in. It looks like it has a knee joint because of the way the armor is designed, but it doesn't have one. And then it has tiny peg holes on the bottom of the feet and nothing in the ankles. Again, his shield blade thing just connects via the hand and the clip on the side of the lower arm, so it does connect onto him. He does stand pretty well for being such a chunky boy. Same with Batman. Batman has more kind of chicken walker-y legs, whereas Lex's are more kind of mech suit kind of esque. So that's a thing, which means we shall look at the Batman. So as with that transformable Batwing that I mentioned that I got the Superman with, I did also get a Batman with that because it was obviously Batman's vehicle, so it came with a transformable, or not transformable Batman, but it came with a Batman. So I'm just going to move things aside quickly and try and get through this. So you can see similar in design, has the chrome on the front. There's nothing, the chrome doesn't go around the back. Obviously Batman has a cape. This one does have a cape as well, which is interesting. You would have thought he would have omitted the cape on a big mech suit, but you know, it's Batman. So this one's more done in a gun metal grey, whereas he has the good old black. Or was it, I only work in black or very dark greys, so he has his black motif going on. Again, launcher is removable, and again, if it looks like it's hinged here, that like it can go up and down, but it doesn't. It just has that swivel. But it's kind of misconceiving that it looks like this could be a hinge to go up at the side. Again, friction launcher, just like with Lexus, so I won't go into it too much. Where he differs is he does have a shield, but it doesn't have the blade. It does have his bat symbol on it, but it just clips over his arm. Now, this one doesn't have the wrist gauntlet clip because it gets in the way of the spikes on the side of the arm, so it is just clipped into his hand. It can be a bit troublesome to get that into his hand, and it is really designed just to be the left hand, because if you put it on the other side, his bat symbol is upside down. So case in point, you can wedge it into his hand, but if you were to put it that way, you can see the bat symbol is actually upside down and you can't really fit it that way onto it, so this thing doesn't reverse. He has a little bit more articulation than Lex, but not as much. He does have his head that can swivel. Unlike the box cover, it doesn't look up like it showed in the box, where he's kind of pointing upwards. His arms are on the swivel that can go all the way around. His arms can go up that much because they aren't as hindered as Lex's. He doesn't have the big piping on the back, so he can stretch his arm out. Single joint elbow with that swivel. Nothing in the waist. He has that cool vac metal bat body with the bat symbol and his utility belt, however the hell he's supposed to use it when he's inside in a big mech suit. I'd imagine it's just for show. And then he does have the thigh swivel, but as I said, he does have that weird kind of chicken leg thing going on, so he doesn't have any articulation points in either of those kind of knee sections or in the ankle. It does look like he has like almost, you know, would have tracks on the bottom of this so he could drive along. And he does have tiny peg holes, and that is pretty much it for Batman. Just turn around the back so you can see the detailing on the back. You can see his hips actually go out a good bit, so you can do a bat slide if you want. So he is pretty cool. So I think this set is a little bit old, as in like it's potentially at least 1 year old. I think it came out in 2024 as opposed to 25, but it's been hard to get the Spin Master stuff over here that isn't the Superman movie related stuff or the 4-inch scale line. They seem to be, Smiths over here seem to be dead hard on changing everything around and just having the larger scale, more limited articulation figures for some reason, and they don't want to keep going with the 4-inch line. They do have some of the 4-inch vehicles, and none of the some of them come with packing characters, but none of the other villain stuff to go with. So for scale comparison, we'll bring in Dr. Loomis, we'll bring in Chekhov, we'll bring in a Cobra Trooper from the retro line, who doesn't want to stand. I too wouldn't want to stand too close to Brainiac either. Bring in the Joy Toy April. And which one is this? It's not Will, or not Mike, it's the other version of his character from the Pennywise, or from the It movie. It's the Finn Wolfhard. And we'll bring in something else. Right, so I'll bring in Penguin from Joker, or from the Batman movie, so you can see scaling. So overall, not a bad set. I do recommend picking it up if you can get it. I do believe most of these figures might be available single carded. I'm not sure about the Lex. I think there is a single carded version of Lex, but I remember them having him in a kind of more familiar suit, like the slimline suits like Soups and Brainiac. I'm not sure if he comes in that big mech suit for the single carded version. Same with Batman. I'm pretty sure the single box version of Batman is this one, and maybe 1 or 2 variants, because they love their variants of Batman. So there you go, guys. Just gonna wrap this up here, and as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoyed this, watching it wherever you are in the world. And thanks for watching, and please hit the like button, share it with friends who think you might like it as well, and see if we can get this to a good at least a couple of hundred views, if not a couple of thousand. I'd love to get hit something in the 1,000 mark for views, but I know most of my videos tend to only get the double digits as opposed to triple digits. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoy this, and as always, have a great day.